Love at 50, a novel by VMS. We are in chapter 17. The days that followed were heavy like monsoon clouds that refused to burst. Mira went through the motions of her life, watering plants, peeping flows, boiling milk, but inside a storm brewed louder than outside. Her children's ultimatum echoed with every tick of the clock, end it or lose us. Rajiv's play whispered at night, choose them, Mira, don't lose your children for me. But in the silence of her room, she heard her own heart asking the one question no one else did, and what about me? On the fifth evening, the dam broke. Anjali arrived again, determined, her voice hard. So, Ma, have you decided? Will you stop this nonsense? Mira looked at her daughter, her child, her blood. But instead of shrinking, something inside her rose. She stood straighter, her voice trembling but clear. Yes, I've decided, Anjali. Anjali exhaled in relief. Good, I knew you would understand. No, Mira cut her off. Her tone sharp and shaken. I've decided that I will no longer live my life for others' comfort, no longer for neighbors, not for relatives, not even for you or Raj. The room went still. Anjali's eyes widened. Ma, how can you? How can I not? Mira's voice cracked, then steadied with fire. I gave your father my youth. I gave you both my strength, my years, my everything. And what do you give me in return? Rules, conditions, ultimatums? I'm not ashamed of love. You are ashamed for me, and I will not carry the shame any longer. Tears welled in Anjali's eyes, but anger fled just as quickly. So you choose him over us. I choose myself, Mira said firmly, and yes, he is part of the choice because he reminds me I am still worthy of laughter, still capable of joy. The silence that followed was suffocating. Anjali's breath hitched her face pale before she turned and left without another word. Mira sank into a chair, her whole body trembling. For the first time, she had spoken her truth aloud, not just in secret letters or stolen whispers. It terrified her, it freed her. That night when Rajiv arrived, she told him everything. He listened, his face etched with both pride and worry. They may never forgive me, she whispered. Rajiv took her hand gently, pressing it to his heart. Then let me spend whatever years I have left proving that your choice was worth it. For the first time in weeks, Meera did not feel torn. She felt whole, fragile, yes, but whole. And the storm inside her finally broke, not in despair, but in defiance. Chapter 18, The Quiet Aftermath. The house felt different, not louder, not busier, not quieter, as if the walls themselves had been wounded by the words spoken within them. For days, Anjali's abrupt departure, there were no calls, no visits. The phone, once buzzing with the children's reminders and casual check-ins, lay cold on the side table. Mira noticed the absence everywhere. No little arguments about groceries, no teasing about her garden obsession, no questions about medicines or doctor's appointments. Silence had replaced them all. At first, emptiness gnawed at her. She paced the rooms, sat by the window, listening to footsteps that never came at night. She stayed at the ceiling, wondering if she had been selfish, if she had just severed her own roots, if she had just served his own roots. But when Rajiv came, as he always did, not with grand gestures but with quiet presence, one morning he arrived with steaming cups of filter coffee. He set one before her and said, let's drink it in the balcony today. The bougainvillea is blooming. It was such a small thing, but when she stepped onto the balcony and saw the pink magenta blossoms spilling like laughter against the railing, something inside her softened. Life hadn't entered. It was still moving, still offering its little joys. They began to share a rhythm, early walks in park, evenings with music, Sundays at the temple, when they sat in the back and noticed, but together people still whispered, but Meera found she cared less each day. One evening, while folding sari, she caught herself humming a tune she had not sung in years. The realization startled her. It wasn't that her children no longer mattered, it was that she mattered too. Yet the ache lingered. Even festival felt incomplete without Anjali's laughter or Rat's booming voice. Every silence from them was another reminder of the price she had paid. One night she confessed it to Rajiv. They may never forgive me. Perhaps I have lost them forever. Rajiv held her gaze gently, or perhaps love just takes longer to understand than duty. Children too must grow. Meera sighed, her heart caught between ache and hope. In the quiet aftermath, she realized this truth. Life was no longer about waiting for others to validate her existence. It was about savoring the mornings, cherishing companionship, and holding on to courage. Whether her children returned or not, and slowly, like the bougainvillea blossoms on her balcony, joy began to bloom again, delicate but undeniable. Chapter 19, The Festival Without Them. The calendar turned, and with it came Diwali the next year, the festival that once meant chaos, laughter, overflowing trays of sweets, and happiness. For years, Mira's home had been the gathering point. Raj would set off the first string of crackers at dawn. Anjali would fuss over the rangoli patterns, and her grandchildren would run about with the sparklers, filling the night with their innocent joy. This year, the house was still. Mira rose before dawn, out of habit, lit the lamp before the tulsi, and tried to ignore the hollow ache in her chest. The neighbor's house rang with children's laughter and with a sharp crackle of crackers bursting in the street. Her home, in contrast, felt like a temple after prayers, empty echoes, sacred but lonely. She tried to distract herself, preparing sweets, setting out diyas, arranging flowers, but every act seemed incomplete without the chorus of voices she once lived for. By evening, as twilight fell, she lit the row of lamps outside her home. The soft golden glow trembled against the darkness, fragile but resolute. She stood there, wondering if this was how her life would always be, half lit, half shadowed. But then she heard footsteps. Rajiv appeared at her gate, holding a box of sparklers and a packet of sweets. Diwali wishes, Mira, he said softly. His smile carried warmth that pierced the chill inside her. Together they lit the sparklers, their faces glowing in the light. For a moment, Mira felt the years fall away, the giggles of childhood and thrill of youthful festival, the joy of being alive. She laughed, truly laughed, and Rajiv's eyes shone at the sound. Later, they sat on the veranda sharing laddus and memories. Rajiv spoke of his late wife, the way she used to braid jasmine into his hair just to tease him. Meera spoke of her children's antics, of Raj's endless love for fireworks, Anjali's obsession with perfect symmetry in Rangoli, and there were tears, but there was also gratitude. When the last lamp flickered now, Mira whispered, I thought today would break me, but instead it reminded me that love can take more forms. Even if my children are not here, my heart is not empty. Rajiv reached for her hand because you have chosen to keep it open. The festival had not been what it once was, but it had given her something new, the courage to celebrate life even in the face of absence. And in the quiet night, Meera realized that light was not just outside in the rows of diyas, it was within her, steady and wavering. Meera realized that light was not just outside in the rows of diyas, it was within her, steady and unwavering. Chapter 20. A letter arrives. The week after Diwali, life settled back into its quiet rhythm. The lamps were put away, the street shade with the neighbors, and the streets cleared of cracker papers. And yet inside Mira, glow of festival lingered like embers refusing to die. One afternoon, as she returned from the temple, she found an envelope slipped under her door. Her heart stilled when she saw the familiar handwriting. It's Anjali's. For a long moment, she could not move. Her hands trembled as she picked it up, holding it as though it was something fragile, alive. Should she open it at once or wait, savoring the possibility before the word shattered her hope? At last, she sat by the window, sunlight spilling across her lap, and folded the letter. Ma, I don't know how to begin. I'm still angry, still hurt. I feel as though you have betrayed us, betrayed Papa's memory. But during Deepavali, I could not stop thinking of you. The house felt incomplete without you, Amma, without your hands making sweets, without your voice guiding us in the puja. I don't understand your choice, Mom, but I cannot stop loving you. You are my mother. That bond doesn't break even if my heart does. Anjali. The words blurred as tears filled Mira's eyes. She pressed the letter to her chest, sobbing silently. It wasn't forgiveness, not it, but it was not rejection either. It was a bridge, shaky, narrow, but there. That evening, she showed the letter to Rajiv. He read it quietly, then looked at her with gentle pride. See, the heart bends before it breaks. Give them time, Mira. Love always finds its way back. For the first time in weeks, Mira allowed herself to hope. The silence had cracked, and though it slipped a small tender light, she wrote a reply that night, her hands trembling as she penned the words, My dearest Anjali, I have never betrayed you or your father. I only found a piece of myself I thought was lost forever. I love you more than my own breath. I will always be here when you are ready, Amma. When she sealed, when she sealed the envelope, her heart felt lighter than it had in months. She didn't know if her children would accept her choice, but she knew now that love, hers for them and theirs for her, was too deep to vanish. It could bend, it could not strain, it could ache, but it would not vanish. And that truth gave her the courage to wait with patience and with hope. Chapter 21, Small Steps Back. The letter had cracked the silence. It did not heal everything, but it left a door ajar. And for Mira, that was enough to let hope flutter inside her chest. A week later, her phone buzzed, the screen light up with a name she hadn't seen in months, Raj. Her hand shook as she answered. Raj, his voice was hesitant, softer than usual. Amma, I was near Mylapore today and thought I would ask you, do you need anything from the market? The question was ordinary, plainly ordinary, and it brought tears to her eyes. She swallowed the lump in her throat. No, Kanna, I have everything I need, but thank you for asking. There was silence on the line. Then Raj muttered, Take care, Amma, before cutting the call. Meera sat in a chair, the phone pressed to her chest, smiling through her tears. It wasn't a reunion, it wasn't forgiveness, but it was something. Days passed, and little gestures began to creep back into her life. A message from Anjali asking her for some recipe, a packet of mangoes left on at her doorstep with a note from Raj, Amma, I know you love these. Every act was small, hesitant, almost shy, but each one mended a thread in the broken bond. Arjun noticed the glow returning to her face. One evening, as they walked in the park, he said softly, They are coming back to you. Uh, Rajiv noticed the glow returning to her face. One evening, as they walked in the park, he said softly, They are coming back to you, Meera. Not all at once, but piece by piece. Meera squeezed his hand, her heart trembling with gratitude. I don't need anything at once. I just need to know they haven't shut their hearts completely, Rajiv. At night, as she placed fresh flowers before the god, she whispered a prayer, not for herself, but for her children, that they might one day see her not as a scandal but simply a woman who dared to love again. The path to healing was long, uncertain, but with every hesitant step, Meera felt like she was walking alone. For the first time since the ultimatum, she believed family love may stumble, may falter, but it never truly dies. Chapter 22, An Unexpected Visit. It was Sunday morning, bright and warm. When the knock came, Mira was in the kitchen grinding. When the sound startled her, visitors had become rare these days, and wiping her hands, she opened the door and froze. Anjali stood there, her daughter's eye darted nervously as if unsure whether she should have come at all. In her hands, she held a box of sweets. Ma, I thought it's been long, Ma. May I come in? Mira's heart leaped, but her voice trembled. Of course, Kana, always. They sat in the living room, the silence awkward, heavy. Anjali glanced around, noticing the fresh flowers on the table, the books stacked neatly, the faint trace of music drifting from the radio, and then she noticed him. Rajiv was on the veranda watering the plants. His presence was calm, natural, yet Anjali stiffened. Ma, she whispered, her tone uneasy. He is here. Mira's breath caught for a moment. Fear threatened to choke her, but then she steadied herself. Yes, he is here. He is part of my life now. Anjali's jaw tightened. She turned away, her fingers clutching the edge of her sweet box. And for a long, tense moment, no one spoke. Then Rajiv stepped inside, wiping his hands with a towel. He paused when he saw her. Namaste, Anjali, he said softly, his voice respectful, almost hesitant. I know I have no right to ask for your acceptance, but I hope someday you can see that I mean no harm to your mother. She deserves companionship, not loneliness. That sincerity in his words hung in the air. Anjali looked at him, her eyes conflicted, anger, sorrow, confusion, all warped within her. She opened her mouth, closed it, then finally whispered, I don't understand this, Ma. I don't know if I ever will, but I can't keep staying away either. She stood placing the sweet box on the table. I came because I missed you. Tears spilled down Mira's cheek as she pulled her daughter into a trembling embrace. For a moment, I don't matter what Anjali thought of Rajiv or love at 50. For a moment, they were simply mother and child again, clinging to each other after too long apart. Rajiv stepped back quietly, giving them space, his eyes moist but smiling. He knew acceptance would not come overnight, but this visit was a beginning, and the beginnings were all that love needed to grow. That night, as Mira lay in bed, her heart full, she whispered to herself, bridges take time to build, but today one stone was laid. The final chapter, love's gentle triumph. The months passed, carrying with them both trials and quiet blessings. The neighborhood still whispered, but the sting of those words dulled with time. Mira learned to smile past them, her heart stronger now, anchored by truth rather than appearances. Her children were not the same as before. They were still moments of hesitation, unspoken questions, but they had begun to return piece by piece. Raj stopped by on Sundays with groceries, and Anjali began calling to ask about her health. And though she still avoided speaking openly of Rajiv, they no longer shut their doors against him. It was enough for now. It was enough. One evening, as the sky blushed orange over the temple towers, Meera and Rajiv sat together on the balcony. The bougainvillea spilled blossoms across them, the faint of fragrance with jasmine. Do you regret it? Meera asked softly, her voice trembling with the vulnerability she still carried. All the trouble, the whispers, and the distance with my children. Do you regret walking into my life? Rajiv turned to her, his face etched with lines of both sorrow and joy, and map of a life fully lived. He took her hand gently, not once, because in these years you have taught me something I never thought I would feel again, that love has no expiry date, that it can bloom at 20 or 50, and its fragrance is just as sweet as it could be forever. Tears welled in Mira's ears, but this time they were tears of peace, not pain. And Mira too repeated, "Yes, love has no expiry date. It can bloom at 20 or 50, and its fragrance is just as sweet as it is forever." She leaned her head against his shoulder, the years behind her heavy, yet her heart light. The battles were not all won, but she had chosen love, chosen herself, chosen life, and that made every scar worth it. Inside the house, Anjali's laughter rang faintly from the phone or speaker, Raj's voice chiming in with a teasing comment. The threads were weaving back together slowly but surely, and Meera knew that she sat beside Rajiv watching the first stars appear, that a story was not one of shame or scandal, but of courage, of rediscovery, of a woman who dared to say yes to love even when the world said no. At 50, she had found what so many search for all their lives. No, not perfection, not permanence, not but companionship. A hand to hold through sunsets, a soul to laugh with within the quiet of twilight. And as the night embraced them, Meera whispered the truth. She now believed with all her heart. Love is not bound by age, love is timeless. Rajiv smiled, his fingers tightening gently around hers, and we are proof of it. Together they sat in silence, the lamps glowing around them, their hearts steady, their love unshaken. It was not the end, it was a new beginning. Love at 50.